2 containers on a Fort Worth street corner and inside a big white van.
All these cast iron skillets.
Willie Dimes collects
I
stuff.
got some of everything you can think of.
But he couldn't think of keeping these, the 2 Purple Hearts he found at an estate sale. So he asked me for help.
He may still be alive, I don't know.
But the only clue to who that person might be was a letter inside the case written by someone named Mary Reece in Duluth, Minnesota, way back in 1979. And then something really strange happened.
For some reason, just thought maybe I could do something.
At his house on a hill in Weatherford, Texas, Martin Branville watched our first story.
And so I made a phone call.
A phone call to a friend in Duluth, asking if he knew anyone named Mary Reece.
So
And they did.
that's when I called you and said, mystery solved.
And the next day,
Hello.
hi, is this Mary?
Yes.
I had Mary Reece on the phone.
Well, I'm glad we found you. We'll see if we can solve this mystery together.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
She told me the Purple Hearts belonged to her ex-husband, a Vietnam War veteran named Christian Reece, but they divorced more than 40 years ago. So, to solve the rest,
This is Terminal 1.
there was only one thing to do.
Please exit the tram.
A weekend trip to Minneapolis and a 2-hour road trip to a little town in western Wisconsin, where in a small tan house surrounded by 3 feet of snow,
Yeah, that's my handwriting for sure.
Mary Reece held her handwritten letter again.
Oh, we got 4 pages? Holy smokes.
And told me she'd also made a few phone calls of her own.
And I said, did he have Purple Hearts? She said, yes, and we can't find them. I said, well, we found them now.
Chris Reece was still alive, 5 hours north in Duluth, near the frozen shore of Lake Superior. And that's where the Purple Hearts needed to be.
What you doing, buddy?
At a nursing home in a second-floor sunroom decorated especially for the occasion.
There's your Purple Hearts, Chris.
His sister Joanne gave him the Purple Hearts
You remember these?
with a tear rolling down her face.
10 years ago, this would have meant so much to him.
Yeah.
Christian Reece is 73. Parkinson's and dementia have a firm grip on him now, after a lifetime of struggles with PTSD and the nightmares from what he saw and what he had to do in Vietnam.
When his son was born, he couldn't hold the baby because of things he had to do over there. It was hard for him, and he couldn't get over it.
Why do you still come visit? Because I know it can be difficult at times.
Because I love him. We're brother and sister, and I'll just be there till the end.
But even with an end drawing near, with the Purple Hearts back in hand, this is a family
Now you're smiling.
that can still find joy.
Are there still good moments like this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And a good moment deserves a good celebration,
Yeah, we're going back to the party, Chris.
including a cake with one more very big Purple Heart.
He was very proud that he
What do you
served.
think, Chris?
Very proud.
Does it really mean something to you to get him back?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the completion of his life. Chew it up, buddy.
A life with 2 of its most important pieces returned thanks to Willie Dimes back in Fort Worth.
Special guy, only thing I can say, with 2 Purple Hearts.
Yeah, it's just the best thing ever. That's a good person.
How wonderful of him. What a good heart.
A good heart helping mend a few more on a very long journey home. In Duluth, Minnesota, I'm Kevin Reece. It's the little radio station in far north Texas that gives away cash at Christmas and has been a fixture in Gainesville for 73 years.
It's a wonderful thing.
So, as is the present day custom, station manager Steve Eberhardt thought a personalized license plate would be a cool addition to their one station vehicle.
I applied for it, and a couple of weeks later.
But in a world that communicates now with OMGs and LOLs, IDKs, and IMHOs, the state told him that KGAF might mean something too. Would you trust me to bleep you today, or do you not want to say it?
Well, I've been told that it's an acronym or a slang for social media for can't give a f. But certainly we never intended that.
The Texas DMV rejected him twice, saying that the call letters the FCC gave them way back in 1947 amount to vulgar, swear, or curse words. But Monday, in downtown Gainesville at the tax assessor collector's office, a small Cook County miracle happened.
Hello.
It had taken weeks of complaints,
I hear y'all have something for me.
but Steve Eberhardt got the plates after all.
Let's open them up and you can take a look at them.
Oh, it's perfect. Look at that. Wow. I'm so pleased. That's beautiful.
Because he knew the right guy to call.
Always when you're on the spot.
State Representative Drew Springer, who made a call or two of his own and then
State-approved call letter.
showed up with his own electric drill.
I just called government relations and says, guys, y'all need to reevaluate that.
It's actually nice to know that at some point common sense came into play.
They're a great part of the community, and I'm glad to help them.
And I guess ultimately it's sure nice to have friends in high places.
So KGAF, which Steve Eberhardt swears doesn't mean anything in particular, can now proudly display its letters. KGAF, the hometown radio station that BTW can get a license plate after all. In Gainesville, I'm Kevin Reece. Imagine your life as a pot of boiling water. Does it like it would a carrot turn you weak and soft? Or like an egg, does the heat and friction and trouble and turmoil harden you and wall you off from the rest of the world?
Because...
Or like the story Damon West told me on a drive through Dallas.
I was a bad guy, I was a scumbag, Kevin.
Can it do something completely different altogether?
The evidence of my guilt was overwhelming.
Overwhelming guilt as the infamous Uptown burglar.
Damon West is the starting quarterback.
He'd gone from UNT football star to meth addict to leader of a ring of thieves who stole more than $1 million of other people's stuff from uptown apartments to feed their drug habits.
I feel like a political prisoner.
We first met him in the Dallas County Jail right before he got sentenced to 65 years in prison.
Yeah, my rock bottom was being sentenced to life that day. And I mean, that was when it hit me that something's got to change, and that something is you, Damon.
Which is why we drove back to the Dallas County Jail, where a fellow inmate taught him how to survive the boiling water that prison life would turn out to be. Don't be a hardened criminal, he was told. Be a coffee bean. It doesn't change. It changes the water around it instead.
This is like the place where I was reborn. I mean, really, if you think about it. I mean, if rock bottom was the day I got sentenced to life in prison, the rest of my life began in that cell up there.
So in prison, he got help for his addictions, became a model inmate, and made parole in just 7 years. He even got a master's degree in criminal justice, arm in arm with a Dallas police officer who saw him sentenced to life in prison.
What he has done with his life, it's impressive. It really is. You can really see the rehabilitation in him.
How y'all doing today?
And now,
BAM! The flashbang grenade went off my face.
Damon West is one very busy coffee bean kind of guy.
I became inmate West number 158-5689.
Sharing his story.
Living in a dope house with other meth addicts.
With anyone who will listen.
God's going to knock you down one day, and when you get back up and dust yourself off, you got a choice to make.
A decade after his arrest, he's a motivational speaker and a best-selling author.
You put a smile on everywhere you go, you will change the energy in every room you go into.
In demand by corporations.
The prison changed around me. It became a pot of coffee. Man, it is good to be here today with y'all.
He returns to prisons to inspire fellow inmates. He's been a college commencement speaker.
You like that coffee bean?
This is my friend Damon West.
And even in demand by people like Dabo Sweeney.
Most powerful messages.
The head football coach of the Clemson Tigers. Damon's coffee bean is their team shirt and slogan for the season.
I was floored when I saw it.
Even Clemson players like Isaiah Simmons, the top linebacker in the country.
So to be a coffee bean, you don't want to be an egg.
Share on national TV.
He said, now you got to change the name of the water to coffee.
The message they learned from a former prison inmate.
Was a guest at Dabo's, and I pulled him aside. I said, man, that was amazing. He goes, man, that's the impact you've had on this team. He said, we talk about the coffee bean all the time.
That guy is truly genuine, and I'm proud of him.
These places look really familiar to me.
Damon knows his debt will likely never be fully paid.
This is Damon.
But as we drove through Dallas past the places he used to break into, he got a phone call.
I go into prisons now, Officer Nolan. I go
An
into
officer at the Dallas County Jail shocked that he'd also paid in full his court-ordered $10,000 fine.
And part of being in a program of recovery is doing the right thing.
So shocked that the officer decided
you're going to buy my book?
To buy a copy of his book, too.
It's good to pleasantly surprise people these days. You know, 4 years ago, I was inside of a prison. Today, I'm able to go out and be a positive force for change. I'm able to go out and be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. As long as I'm sharing the story, I get a chance to stay sober and be useful. And that's all I'm really looking at is one day at a time.
Redemption can be a very long road, so Damon's advice is to make peace with the trouble and turmoil bubbling around you, and instead,
My purpose, my place.
just make a little coffee along the way.
Go tell that coffee bean story and go out there and find more coffee beans.
In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reece.